Breaking news coming from Uganda. You will not believe this. If you say Africa is one of the richest places to be in terms of minerals, no one, absolutely no one, should contradict this. Now, Uganda has discovered over 31 million metric tons of gold, worth 320 ton of refined gold. And you know what is happening? USA saw this. I mean the United States of America saw this, and they approached Uganda, and they even signed a deal so that USA can extract this gold, so that they can ease the people of Uganda, the government of Uganda, from going extra cost in the process of extraction. I hope you know what is happening. I don't want to speak about it.
We now have a generation that believes everything we did by colonizing. Yes, it is true. They think everything about colonization was wrong. It wasn't. There were some terrible things, and there were some good things to come out of it. And that is about properly acknowledging your past.
Education.
Yes, completely.
Sanitation.
Transportation.
Yeah. There was so much that we brought to communities. But that is. But you're typical of what we're talking about.
No, I'm saying that colonization, the empire was wrong. It was wrong, full stop. That's, you know, the things that Britain might have done.
But that's very much through your modern sensibilities,
Yes.
you might say that, because we wouldn't now routinely go into other countries.
It was a profoundly racist set of basically invasions of other people, where we subjugated people to our rule and sort of made them work for us. It was
made their countries work.
Could imagine yourself in the shoes of a 13-year-old boy hearing you say that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What do they then? How do they then carry that through life?
Well,
in terms of who I am as a Brit.
But it's not about.
We had racist ancestors.
Say it,
but Bev.
But I'm saying that we hear much more of that than we do about the benefits of that period of time.
Well, because I don't think there were benefits. I think that we have to be completely.
Of course there were.
I don't think there were.
There were benefits to us.
A lot of those countries did not, Jonathan, those countries,
it absolutely does.
Those countries did not have money. They did not have the creativity. They did not have people in positions of power to do this. No, they didn't.
Countries, they just didn't live like Britain did. It doesn't make it worse. It just makes it different.
So it's okay to live without education, and it's okay to live without a transportation system, is it?
They did have education. It just wasn't our education system. They had language. It wasn't our language.
This cultural
medicine we brought to
precisely what we have.
Yes.
I don't know. Look, I don't know why we're even
very concerned lately about China. They are now all over Africa, you know, buying things and investing over there and getting those countries dependent on them and supporting, you know, non-democratic people. And I'm just
like whom?
Well,
we are in a country that supports Saudi Arabia.
Yes, that's true. Right.
So suddenly we have a problem with, you know, superpowers supporting non-democratic people.
Yes, I mean, yes, I do. You know, they're in Africa. They're lending money to countries to build ports and different infrastructure.
To build what?
Port.
And what's wrong with that?
And well, because
countries that need ports get ports.
But they're making people dependent on. I mean, I know it's the same thing that we've done, which is horrible around the world.
They are far more humanistic than the United States ever was.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. So
let me give you an example. Of course, they are peddling for influence.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they are non-interventionist. Absolutely non-interventionist in a way that Europeans, the West, has never managed to fathom. When it comes to the influence of China outside its borders, I have to say, firstly, it's quite remarkable that they don't seem to have any military ambitions. Secondly, Africa. I'll give you an example, a specific example. Ethiopia. 2004, because it happened to be there, and I have some first-hand experience of it. They went into Ethiopia. I'll tell you why they went into Ethiopia, because they suspected there was oil. Because China is a major industrial power, but it lacks primary resources. Now, instead of going into Africa with troops, colonially, destroying the country, killing people like the West has done for the last 100 years, what they did was they went to Addis Ababa and they said to the government, we would like, we can see you have problems with your infrastructure, we would like to build some new airports, upgrade your railway system, create a telephone system, and rebuild your roads. And we'll do this all for free. No strings attached. We don't want anything from you. And they did. Why did they do it? Because this is soft power. Because because they knew that if oil is discovered, and it was discovered later, then, of course, the Ethiopian government will be much more open to Chinese oil companies coming there. They have never combined their investment with imperialistic. Can you imagine if that was a German company or an American company? That's why I'm saying I don't think you should worry.
Okay, I won't.
Can you believe this?
You cannot discover a place that already has people living there. To the guy who said Africa was discovered by Europeans, let me teach you something. You don't discover a place where millions of people already lived, traded, built kingdoms, and developed complex systems long before Europeans touched African soil. When Vasco da Gama arrived in 1497, he didn't find wilderness. He found cities. He found the Swahili coast, Kilwa, Mombasa, Mapungubwe, civilizations trading with India and China centuries earlier. Only thing Europe discovered was its own greed. You didn't discover Africa. You invaded it. You renamed it. You redrew the borders. You enslaved and colonized. That doesn't sound like discovery. It sounds like theft. Why do we still believe this lie? Because history is taught from the perspective of the thief, not the victim. And that is why your textbooks lie.
We now have some full information as to why the chief commander was shot dead during the attempted coup which took place in Ivory Coast just some days back. And I know most of you might be asking yourself, why was this chief commander eliminated that easily? Now, you are all aware that this chief commander was just from visiting his brother, who happened also to be elected or to be appointed as the head of military in Ivory Coast. Now, what angered the military so much was the fact that how could the brother of the chief commander be appointed as the head of military? That is what triggered the military and made them to organize for a coup to overthrow the current president. As a result, he was shot dead after just visiting his brother. Now, here is how the military viewed all these things. You see, when the brother of the chief commander was taken to be the head of military, then it could be very difficult for the government or for the president to step down. That's why he had to be eliminated in order for this whole process to take place smoothly without any interference.
It's a countries and continent whereby we send our resources to be processed in other countries, which means we are importing jobs of our young people. Both of our countries are producers of uranium. Namibia in particular, we are fed uranium producers in the world, and there's no reason why we cannot talk about nuclear energy. If other countries in the world are using it, why can't we use it? If other continents have done it, why Africa cannot do so?
You heard what she said, right? Let's take off and discuss something important. This is the president of Namibia, Netumbo. They newly sworn her in a few months ago as the first ever female president in Namibia. President is a woman, vice a woman, senate president a woman in Namibia right now. And since this lady stepped in as the president of Namibia, things started changing positively. The other lady you are seeing with her in this picture right now is the president of Tanzania. She has been in power for so long, and two of them met recently to sign bilateral deal. Now, as you can see, some of our leaders that are coming together in the same direction with one vision. Ibrahim Traoré, president of Burkina Faso, Assimi Goïta, president of Mali, Abdoulaye Tiani, president of Niger, John Mahama, the president of Ghana, Diomaye Faye, the president of Senegal. Right now, these two women, they are joining forces together. As you can see what is going on. Now, let's take some point from what she said. Number one, she said that Africa as a continent, this is the time to stop exporting our own processed mineral resources from Africa to Western countries to process. Why can't African leaders build refineries, buy the machines, refine our mineral resources here, employ our youths, because through that our youths will be employed. Why exporting it to Western world, employing their youths over there? After everything, our leaders will still pay money, buy the mineral resources, they will import it back here in Africa, and we will start using it. Everything will rise up, both the prices of the mineral resources. Number two, what she said. Now I even know, say, Namibia is the third producer of uranium in the world. Third. And Namibia is one of the poorest countries in Africa, in the world, one of the poorest. Third producer of uranium. For those of you who don't know what is uranium, uranium is used to produce nuclear energy, nuclear bombs, all these sophisticated weapons you have been seeing. Uranium is being used to produce it. Uranium is also used to supply electricity. Yes, Niger has it, Burkina Faso has it, almost every African country here has it, this uranium, but they are still in forest because their leaders have been exporting all these mineral resources. They have been allowing Western leaders exploiting. Since this lady came as the president of Namibia, she kicked out all the people exploiting their mineral resources. She's now in charge of every mineral resources in Namibia. She's now monitors everything. She said Namibia mineral resources must benefit Namibians, not European leaders, not their citizens, but Namibian citizens. The same thing with this Tanzanian president. Now, changes everywhere, and you can see they are joining forces together right now. We are uniting, yes, and we are getting more stronger here in Africa. If not like this, may they give power to women, may they elect them as presidents here in Africa, because these two women right now, they carry fire. They give Western leaders woto.
We are divided by borders, we are poisoned by politics, and we are blinded by war. But we all come from one place, the cradle of humankind. And now, with official backing from Marupeng and the cradle of humankind, we are walking 30,000 kilometers to show the world just that. From South Africa to the edge of Asia, 20 countries, 2 years, to show how people eat, sleep, love, grieve, different cultures, same species, one ancestry. This is not tourism, this is a protest, and we are starting where humanity began. 3 of us are ready, 1 space left. If you feel that, dear me, if you believe in unity, dignity, purpose, and scientific inquiry, share this video. The world needs to remember, this is the Humanist Walk. This is the story of all of us.